What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Take Three podcast. My name is Brandon, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Alex. And in today's episode, we're here to kind of recap week 5 in the NFL. It was a super eventful week on and off the field. Maybe more would say off the field than actually on the field with the allegations that we'll kind of get into in a couple of minutes. But I mean, all in all, some good football was played. We looked at the Rams go on the road on a Thursday night game, find their way to a W, and then we watched Atlanta and the Jets kind of stink their way up. But the Jets once again found a way to lose Zach Wilson like a moron. I watched him run backwards and take a sack and knock them out of field goal range. It was pretty embarrassing. What else? Vikings escape last minute. Dan Campbell cries at the presser. I don't know. That was like a little weird. I didn't know whether like, yeah, let's get behind this guy or like, yeah, we should probably drug test this guy's a little odd. Saints get back in business. We kind of are watching Washington crumble. That defense once again allows 30 plus points. Not looking good there. Tom Brady kind of gets on back on the thing, going 5 touchdowns, no picks. Steelers hold fort. The Panthers crumble. So we had a lot of stuff go on. Even though probably the biggest story is off the field. I mean, how are you feeling after week 5? It's now it's a Tuesday afternoon coming off of Monday Night Football.
Yeah, we have a much clearer picture on who's going to actually contend or not. The Chiefs are certainly in trouble. Washington's defense is atrocious. The Raiders, I don't even know where the Raiders go moving forward. Hopefully, they can get it together after the outside football stuff. But it was a good weekend. Learned a lot about some teams, and it was a great Monday night game to round up the week. So excited to talk about it.
Exactly. A lot of stuff went down, but yeah, I mean, I think the most proper way to really start is probably the John Gruden stuff. I mean, more emails came out. We already knew last week what he said about NFLPA director Damaris Smith. That was kind of ridiculous statement to make, even in an email that you think is private. I mean, we're finding out in 2021, everything you send in the past is probably not private. There's people that can get access to almost anything that you send, and they will bring it forward. And then obviously yesterday, more stuff came out. He was attacking women and saying they really have no place in football. He attacked Roger Goodell, made comments about him. I won't really repeat the comments. They're not really proper to make in this time. But I mean, what do you make of this whole John Gruden ordeal? It kind of spiraled out of control, kind of out of nowhere. It was kind of like all we knew about was the Damaris Smith comment. And he kind of he apologized, and it's like, okay, like he wasn't employed by a team. It looks bad, but I mean, multiple people kind of stood up for him and said they've been around him. He doesn't seem like that type of guy. And then we just kind of get the floodgates. It's funny that on ESPN Monday Night Football, this kind of he resigns and all this stuff comes out. So yeah, I mean, what do you feel about John Gruden? Obviously, I think it was the right decision for him to get out of to leave the Raiders and step down and then move on from him.
Yeah, those original comments about Smith was just like the tip of the iceberg, right? There was so much more behind it, and Gruden and the Raiders did the right thing, getting rid of him. I'm sure that was hard for the Raiders since they like love John Gruden, he's their guy, and this and that. But like it needed to be done. The comments are atrocious; they're not acceptable. Like you can't say any of that in today's day and age. You shouldn't say it back then, but now it's like you can't get away with any of that. And it just blows my mind that these people put it in emails. Like it's one thing to make those kind of comments, but they send it in which a manner it can be tracked digitally and it never goes away, which is mind-boggling to me. But yeah, the Raiders did the right thing. You got to get rid of John Gruden. You got to try and push the story to the back of the news cycle as fast as possible and just move forward because they're having a good season so far. And like then my question turns, can the Raiders like pick it up and put it back together? Because they were atrocious on Sunday with a lot of distractions, but can they move forward and actually be a good team still? Because the Gruden stuff, he's got to go. You just cannot be saying the things that he said.
Yeah, the stuff he said is ridiculous, and it's kind of yeah. I don't really. It's kind of weird for me to say. It's like not surprising. Like I guarantee, if you scrub a lot of these guys' emails and a lot of these guys' text messages throughout NFL football from now, dating back even years. I know you can go 20 years ago. I think you would find a lot of this. I think Lewis Riddick even said on Monday Night Football, like John Gruden's not the only guy. Like he got caught, right? He got found out about and got exposed. But there's more of these. There is definitely more of these type of emails, this type of stuff, and it's really yeah, it has no place in the league. I mean, we've kind of seen now women refereeing, like they're kind of growing in the sport, becoming part of coaching staffs. So we're kind of, yeah, we're just trying to grow past that time. It's like it seems like a time that we're moving forward. We're really not moving forward even in the country, in the NFL, kind of that way. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if the Raiders can pick it up. I think it's kind of a thing that's going to linger with them all year. Like you're going to see week to week. Like I don't know, there's something that's this big of a story. I don't think it can disappear. And we saw it on Sunday, right? They looked like utter garbage and got bullied by the Bears. I think it was 20-9. And they just, it's tough, but we'll see what they can do. I mean, if you had a prop that Derek Carr was going to last longer than John Gruden, what a hell of a bet that would be, right? Because I mean, it's funny that in the preview of this whole thing, I said, do you think John Gruden will be on the hot seat and how much longer will he last as the Raiders head coach? And it's funny that he gets ousted in this fashion, obviously not for on the field results.
Yeah, and to the point where that he just got caught, I 100% believe that. I 100% believe there's plenty of other people in the league, and especially if you go back, that have the same kind of feelings, utter the same sentiments, say the same kind of things. The NFL is very much a boys' club. They don't like when people intrude their club, and like the last decade of football has seen a lot of changes to that club, not football wise, just like women are refereeing. You see the social movements, Colin Kaepernick, a lot of stuff has transpired in football, and football is moving in a good direction, the right direction. But man, I'm sure there's a lot of older men that are not happy about it, and John Gruden is not alone. The only other sports scenario I can even think of that's like similar to this was the Donald Sterling stuff for the Clippers, and like that CP3 Blake Griffin team. They're a very good team that kind of like, I don't want to say it derailed them, but it was a huge distraction for the playoffs. And like, yeah, this is going to be a huge distraction for the Raiders. I wouldn't be surprised if it derails their whole season. I mean, I would be impressed if the Raiders can come back and put the season back together and be productive.
Yeah, I just think too many distractions. Good riddance to kind of, yeah. I mean, John Gruden, I don't expect him really to be associated with the NFL brand ever again, probably. I mean, he's kind of going to fade off. I mean, we'll talk about this. This will obviously be a story for a couple of weeks. I mean, maybe more will come out, more crazy stuff that he said. He truly did say some wild stuff that I won't repeat, but it's pretty insane. But yeah, I mean, let's get off of this John Gruden topic. Let's send him to the bleachers. Just like the Raiders did. And let's go straight to Monday Night Football. Lamar Jackson, I guess we sit back and we look at the Ravens are a passing football team now. Lamar Jackson, 442 yards through the air, 37 of 44 touchdowns, no picks. He did have 14 carries and 62 yards on the ground. Mark Andrews, Marquise Hollywood Brown, hell of a night by both of those guys. It was really just a hell of a comeback. It was like weird. I think Carson Wentz, I believe he fumbled, and that kind of like helped turn the things around for the Ravens, and then they really just couldn't stop the Ravens. It's kind of weird for me to say. Carson Wentz was actually pretty good last night. Like he had a 400-yard night against the top defense with 2 touchdowns and no picks, but it seems like stand in the pocket, fumble, and kind of create a turnover when I believe they were in the red zone. He just finds a way to lose a game, right? It's that simple. But I mean, I'm more amazed with Lamar Jackson, what he's been able to do with all those running backs down. We were kind of questioning, and even myself through the preview of the AFC North, was, can Lamar Jackson make the evolution as a passer? And I think I'm sitting at this point now 5 weeks into the season, I'm like, maybe he has. Like last night watching him at points, I did not watch the entire game, but I did watch probably the last quarter in the overtime. He just seems natural, way more natural throwing the ball this year than he ever has. In the past, he looked like he was aiming the ball. And we see that you can't do that as a pitcher in baseball, and you really can't do that as a quarterback in the NFL. You can't try to aim your passes. Just let the arm rip. We know you have the strength, and just do your thing. But I mean, yeah, what are you feeling about the Baltimore Ravens? Another huge comeback W.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with Baltimore. They've been super impressive this whole season to me. And before I dive into Baltimore, I just want to real quick talk about the Colts, because this Colts team that played on Monday night was a team I expected throughout the season. They played very good. They went on the road. They played a very competitive game. They probably should have won. They made some mistakes. Carson Wentz looked pretty good, but in classic Carson Wentz fashion, like you mentioned earlier, even in games when he looks good, he still has turnovers. He still fumbled the ball, and they just couldn't get it done. And unfortunately for Indianapolis, even though this is the team I expected, because this team that played Monday night could beat anybody when they play that well, they're already 1-4, so it might be too late, even though they might be getting it together finally. And then the Baltimore Ravens, I love the Baltimore Ravens right now. I think them and Buffalo are the best teams in the AFC. The Chiefs, we'll talk about the Chiefs. They're clearly in trouble, but Baltimore has been impressive. They have come back. Their one loss was the Raiders to open the season, and they lost in the fourth quarter in overtime. They came back, beat the Chiefs. They came back, beat the Lions. They had big fourth down conversions on that final drive to beat the Lions. They smacked the Broncos, and they did that through the air. Lamar had over 300 yards passing, and then he follows that up with the Monday night performance of over 400 yards passing. And the thing that impresses me the most about the Ravens is a lot of things have not gone their way this season, but in like whether it be losing all your running backs right before the season starts with like within like a week, or just going down and kind of getting a multiple possession deficit at home against the Chiefs on Sunday night, or having to drive back and to beat the Lions. And then even the Colts game, they looked like they were coming back into it, and then Lamar fumbled and they ran all the way down to the other side, and the Colts got a touchdown and extend the lead. And all they did was just stay true, went right back down. The next possession, drove down the field and scored again. So like Baltimore's been so impressive just because they find ways to win so far this year. They've had a lot go against them, but they're still coming out with victories. And like, I got nothing but high praise for Baltimore. They've done really good things so far.
Exactly. I say, I mean, after the Raiders stuff, I say we overturn the week 1 game and give the Ravens the W. But now we'll move forward. Yeah, I just love same stuff you said pretty much. I love how resilient they are, right? The running backs go down and it's like, oh shit, like we don't know how they're going to look offensively. We know they run the ball so much and they really rely on the run heavy and play defense. They might not be able to overcome that. And then they just find a way, right? Lamar Jackson's putting it together. He's doing everything that I wanted to see him do going into this year, really make that stride, because this is like these are the type of games and performances as a passer that are going to carry you through the playoffs. The running stuff, when you get down, and we saw they were down last night big. I think it was 20. It was bad. It was like 25-9. I think it was at one time. It was ugly. And then they got the arm slinging. They got everything going. Mark Andrews getting involved, Hollywood Brown. And it just seemed like in the past, in years past, I don't know if the Ravens, I know for a fact in years past, even the last year, I would say that's a game over. Like, I don't think Lamar can pass them back into the game, but he seems to be able to do it. Completing 67% of his passes this year, 8 touchdowns, 3 picks. He's 4th in the league passing yards wise. He's just doing everything. He's taking that stride that I want to see. And yeah, I love the resiliency of the Ravens. It seems like no matter how many points they're down, they're not going to give up. And John Harbaugh has his guys really rolling going forward. Big win to keep the train going.
And in the past for Baltimore, we would always talk about how we get worried if they're down multiple possessions because they're so run heavy. But now they've been down multiple possessions. They're showing they can come back, and the run, like that's really all that was missing from the Ravens. We always talked about the passing game and can they throw themselves back into the game if the run game's not all there. They're doing it all this year, and if they put it all together, the sky's the ceiling. They could win the championship.
Yep, it was really big plays through the air, and we're saying they're able to put together drives through the air more than they really have became a passing team as we go forward in 2021. And I'm interested to see how it goes as they got a big matchup next week against the Chargers. So more questions about this team will get answered. Let's move straight into Sunday night football, another kind of game, a weird one. I can't say I was really surprised. I was kind of high on the Bills at 2.5. I haven't really been impressed with the Chiefs at all. The offense, I mean, we've seen once again teams take away the big plays with Tyreek Hill. Sorry, they take him away, and they kind of look like a different offense. They got to methodically work their way down the field. It's interesting to see that Patrick Mahomes not really worked the middle of the field. There was multiple times on Sunday night where the middle of the field with Travis Kelce is wide open and he kind of scrambles out. I feel like he scrambles out kind of sometimes for no reason. Like the pocket's clean and he just starts running around. And I'm like, it's amazing to watch. Sometimes it works out like the Josh Gordon catch, but then it's like at some point there's just no reason to just sit back there. You probably have one of the top 2 arms in football. Just sling the ball and you'll have an easy completion, especially the guy like Kelce across the middle. But yeah, I mean, the Bills go into Kansas City and kind of beat up on the Chiefs. It was kind of the Chiefs defense was bad. Once again, we know their defense is pretty damn bad. A lot of blown coverages. Dawson Knox caught a touchdown on a blown coverage by Sorensen. They let Stephon Diggs go straight down the middle for a deep ball. And it was really just Josh Allen's coming out party. I was super impressed with Josh Allen. It's kind of a game where last year, 2 years ago, it's the fortunes are the fortunes are changing in the AFC. You go 2 years ago or even a year ago, they're going into Kansas City for a Sunday night game. I'm saying no shot. Like the Chiefs are just going to blow their faces off. But now I think that game last year in the playoffs, the AFC title game where the Bills got there and went down, I think they're kind of comfortable in that spot now. They've kind of been there And yeah, Patrick Mahomes just didn't look good either, to be honest. He threw a lot of bad balls. I believe he threw, I want to say an interception, 2 interceptions. I don't know the box
Two.
score. Yeah, 2 picks. I thought it was 2 picks. Yeah, he just didn't look good. And then he launched one off of Tyreek Hill's hands. I think that was the pick six it was, if I'm not mistaken, where he threw the ball underneath off of Tyreek. And yeah, the Chiefs, once again, they're just kind of, they don't look like the same team. It's interesting. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire now heading to injured reserve. So we don't know what their running back room is going to look like. Yeah, I mean, how are we feeling? Sunday night, it kind of looks like things are changing in the AFC landscape very, very fast.
Oh, yeah. So going into this year, the young quarterbacks had a hard time beating Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. It was Josh Allen and the Bills would always come up short. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens would come up short. They both beat him this year. And then Baker Mayfield and the Browns were very close to beating the Chiefs week one. So the tide is definitely shifting. I was on the record of saying I like the Bills plus 2.5, but I was going to pick the Chiefs just because of the Mahomes magic. I want to see if he can just do it. And like it wasn't really close. The defense is so atrocious. And we knew that going in. So you knew the Chiefs are going to have to score 45 or 42 to like beat these Bills because they were just going to have to straight up outscore them. But the blueprint is out on the Chiefs. To like put two safeties over top, stop the big plays and make them beat you methodically down. But not methodically pass the ball down the field and make them beat you like that. And then they put pressure on Mahomes and it's working. It's worked multiple times this season already. It worked in the Super Bowl. The blueprint's out. And like my other concern with Mahomes is I feel like he thinks he has to do everything, which he does for this team. But in the past, he would always just hit it. But like now you're just watching him straight up miss throws at times, which I swear he never really did in the past couple of years. But now I'm just seeing him miss some certain throws he should do. And then he's sidearming here and there, which aren't working out, which like those are so fun and they're pretty to watch on Sports Center. But don't be doing that if you're down and you can't, and it's not working out anymore. So I think the Chiefs need to go back to basics and just – but like, I just don't know what you do defensively because in the past 2 seasons, you could always count on the Chiefs getting it together and you felt good about it. Oh, they'll get it together, this or that. The Chiefs are going to be a wild card team at this point, and I don't see any way in which the defense can get it together.
Oh yeah, I mean you're pretty spot on. That was going to lead me right into my first question on the Chiefs. Is right now, where would you put them in the AFC power rankings in the picture? I know where I would have them, but I'm interested to hear yours first, where you would stick them amongst the top teams.
I would put the Bills and the Ravens ahead of them for sure. I would put the Chargers ahead of them, and then I'd have them probably fourth or fifth. The other team there would be the Browns.
Yeah, I'm right on there with you. I'd probably go Bills, Chargers, Ravens, kind of 2A, 2B. They're very close. We'll know this week, to be honest. They play next week, week 6. And yeah, I'd probably lean them just over the Browns. I feel like the Browns find ways to just lose to the Chiefs. And I don't like what I see kind of out of Baker Mayfield. He's kind of very tentative now with the left shoulder injury. But yeah, I mean, they're definitely they're trending downwards and it's crazy. And my point is I don't see how they make the defense any better, right? Chris Jones has been out. I don't think Chris Jones played Sunday night again, but when you sit back and look at that defense, I don't think you ever think at one moment, wow, they're one Chris Jones away from really turning this defense around, right? They have so many holes, and that kind of really leads me into this, and I kind of said it in a group chat, is I don't know if Andy Reid and Mahomes will win another one. Andy Reid's not known as really an adjuster, and they now have a $400 million quarterback. I don't know where the flexibility comes from to really rebuild and retool the defense. You just spent really your little bit of flexibility in cap space this year to rebuild the O-line. You get Orlando Brown. I don't know if he's got paid yet, but he's going to get paid. And you bring in Joe Thuney as well to play left guard. So they don't really have that much wiggle room. They're slated to probably lose the Honey Badger. He's going to come in unless he takes a pay cut to stay in town. He could, but we don't know. I mean, if somebody's going to pay him $16 million a year, I could easily see him dip. That's kind of what the market value is looking like right now. But I mean, yeah, what do you think before we kind of move on to them? Is their window kind of, it sounds crazy to say this because Patrick Mahomes is so good, but is the window kind of closing?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I can't say it's closed because of that last point. Patrick Mahomes is just so good. But the two of us being Eagles fans, we know pretty damn well when an Andy Reid team peaks and then never really hits that peak again and has a hard time just making small adjustments on the roster to get there, like the early thousand Eagles over and over again. But I could see that with this Chiefs team. It's tough. You got a $400 million quarterback. The defense is full of holes. If they're really going to get back and contend, I honestly think it might not be like this year or next year, but I honestly think the way to do it is they're going to need Patrick Mahomes to just uplift draft picks offensively, and they got to spend money on the defensive side of the ball because there becomes a point. It reminds me of like the Aaron Rodgers Packers team. It's a little different, but they wouldn't really spend a ton of money on the offensive side of the ball. And like Aaron Rodgers would just have to uplift whoever his receivers are. And then I think they're going to have to, it's going to be a similar scenario. They're going to need Patrick Mahomes to just uplift whoever they are. They got to pay on the defensive end because like, I don't like, yeah, the offense is elite, but if you're just bleeding, what can you really do? They're going to turn into like the Dallas. It's funny now the Dallas Cowboys have switched. Their defense is good, but they used to just be elite offense and the defense just bleeds. I love that scenario for fantasy purposes on Sundays, but that's kind of what the Chiefs are right now. To me, they have to start spending money on the defensive side of the ball and believe that their $400 million quarterback can uplift like some second round draft picks or not big guys offensively.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, in order to really rebuild and retool the defense, it would require probably moving on from Tyreek Hill, maybe moving on from Travis Kelce. You're going to really strip the weapons down, as you said, and we're really going to have to find out how good, really how great Patrick Mahomes is, right? Because he's kind of had great weapons around him with a great offensive mind with Andy Reid, and everything's kind of worked to benefit him up until this point. And now we look at, your defense has got awful. Your cap situation isn't very great. And in order to kind of build yourself a balanced football club, you're going to have to make some maybe some cap casualties on the offensive side of the ball to uplift. They definitely need to retool that defense. It kind of feels like maybe that 49ers Super Bowl win kind of felt like Andy Reid 04 if he wasn't up against Tom Brady with the Eagles, right? He kind of got a bad luck there, and now we're kind of seeing this team kind of trend downwards. But I mean, as we said, Patrick Mahomes is so good. So it's kind of, although they're trending down, we will keep an eye and see what they can do. But I am not, I don't know. I'm not impressed.
Yeah, and those early Eagles teams, how many outside of the Terrell Owens short stint, we saw so many years of it was just McNabb thrown to like Westbrook and then like Todd Pinkston and like Selleck. And then later on they got weapons. But like, so it just shows Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes is capable of getting like lesser guys and doing it offensively. And I don't know if they'll pull it off, but it's in the realm of possibility.
I mean, pretty much. Yeah. They're going to have to find a way. But let's not spend too much time. We could really spend, I feel like, an entire segment talking about the Chiefs, to be honest. It's just that interesting of a team when you have that much talent to drop. Let's go late Sunday afternoon. The Browns went on the road to LA, played the Chargers, and it was kind of just a score-a-thon. I can't lie. I was pretty damn tired. I was up early on a Sunday morning with work. So I kind of passed out through the middle of this game for about an hour, got to tune in towards the end to kind of see Baker Mayfield try to lead the comeback drive. I mean, I do remember at one point it was 27-13. I believe it was 27-13 Browns right before half. And then I kind of passed out. But then we saw Justin Herbert come back, fired out 26-43, almost 400 yards, practically 4 touchdowns, no picks. Baker was pretty good, 305, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Nick Chubb did his thing, 161 yards and a touchdown. Kareem Hunt had 2 touchdowns. Seems like he's so good at vulturing touchdowns. I swear at the goal line. I love it. I have him on one of my fantasy teams, so I love it. And it was really a David Njoku coming out party. Very weird to see. Probably his best game as a Brown, to be honest. 7 catches, $149 and a touchdown. But yeah, I mean, the Chargers find a way to do it again. It's not a close one, but they found a way to outscore the Browns. And once again, the Browns find a way to kind of lose another one of these games that they maybe should have won. You think if you're up 27-13 at half that you'll seal a W. Yeah. How do you feel? I mean, Justin Herbert, the Chargers look good once again.
Feel great about Justin Herbert and the Chargers. I feel good about the Browns in the sense they're still a good team. I don't feel good about them like representing the AFC or making the Super Bowl. Now, my criticism of the Browns and on Baker Mayfield is not entirely fair because like Baker played well again. 23 of 32, 305 yards, 2 touchdowns, but I don't know. He didn't win the game. And like when we're talking about these AFC dominant teams, used to be the Chiefs, but now we're moving over. It was the Chargers. Justin Herbert figured out a way to win this game. It was Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens. He's figured out a way to win multiple games this year. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen just figures out how to win games. And to me, that's kind of the difference with Cleveland and then those other 3 elite teams. I view them as a step below. And like Baker is a number 1 draft pick. He needs to win. He needs to go into LA, have that lead, and he needs to win that game because not only did he give up the lead, then the Chargers took it. He had a chance to have a game-winning drive down and steal that game, and he was stopped. It's not really fair because like Baker played well. It's not fair criticism, and I do acknowledge that. But like I just need more out of Baker. He's your franchise guy. He was a former number 1 pick. I don't know, those former number 1 pick franchise guys, they need to win these tough games. And I just think there's like the Browns are very good. And if everything goes perfect, they could win a Super Bowl with Baker. But like you need everything to go well. Baker doesn't exactly elevate the offense and like make up for things and get you there like those other 3 quarterbacks do for their team. So to me, the Browns are just a step below. And it's hard to make up that ground when you have Baker compared to Herbert, Josh Allen, or Lamar.
Yeah, exactly. It just feels like the Browns find ways to lose these games. As you said, I mean, if they're going to be a force and make a move in the AFC to really represent the AFC as a Super Bowl, they have to find ways to lose or to win games. They find ways to lose games, find a way to win games like this. Yeah, I mean, you're up 27-13. Everything's kind of tailor-made for you. You have a better running game, right? Run the rock, control the ball. And then we find them, they're somehow losing and Baker Mayfield's having to make a drive. I didn't like their play calling at all. Really on that last drive, to be honest. It was very like tentative and super weird. And then they tried 2 weird deep long balls. And I was just like, I don't know. And then people were crying pass interference on the last play. And I was like, I thought a flag got thrown. I swear I saw a yellow flag come down and I was about to just shut off the game. So I was about to be like 2 guys trip over their feet. And it's just like the Browns. Yeah, they have to find ways to win games like this. I mean, these are the teams that you're going to play and probably face them in the same spot, right? You're going to go on the road to LA again, or on the road to Baltimore, any of these stadiums, the Bills, and you have to find ways to win games, especially when you're up. You can't blow games like that. And it's weird, yeah, as you said, because Baker didn't play bad, right? It's not really all on him. Like, it's not like he threw 3 picks. It's not like he pulled a Sam Darnold and threw 3 interceptions and really completely costed his team the game. But
Go Eagles.
Yeah, you just got to find a way to do a little bit more. Kind of seems like he misses Jarvis Landry out there in that passing game because from what I see, him and Odell really don't have any chemistry at all. It looks, it's very bad. I mean, when you look at Odell caught 2 balls on 3 targets. When you see Donovan Peoples-Jones, Rashad Higgins, Kareem Hunt, David Njoku, when you see all those guys getting more targets, the chemistry is just not there.
Yeah, the OBJ point's real because even like before OBJ was hurt, the previous years he was in Cleveland, they never really got on the same page. I remember he had one big game, a Monday night game against the lowly Jets. And then other than that, he never really got on the same page. Him and Jarvis, when Jarvis is on the field, they click really well together. But yeah, OBJ and Baker don't really click in a game where they scored 42 points, 300 yards of offense through the air, another 200 on the ground, and OBJ had 2 catches for 20 yards. I don't really think it works well.
Yep. That's that's really all I got. The Browns, they got to figure out a way to pull out close games against top-notch AFC teams in order to really kind of cement their spot as the cream of the crop in the AFC. We'll move really quick to a early game, kind of a weird one. Packers-Bengals really turned into whose field goal kicker will finally make a field goal. It was funny, one of my buddies said earlier, I don't know why they don't let McPherson line up for this 57-yard field goal. He's making them in warm-ups. And I was like, that's the most ridiculous thing. Like, dudes hit 65-yarders in warm-ups. Like, there's a reason why they make those field goals in warm-ups. There's nobody in the crowd. There's nobody rushing you. Everything's tailor-made. You have the ball sitting on a holder. You don't even have a holder. Everything's there. So, I mean, that was it's one of the most ridiculous things. But, it seemed like Aaron Rodgers was literally going to probably cut Mason Crosby himself if he missed another field goal. It was just, what'd you say? It was kind of interesting to see a field goal kicking contest.
Yeah, weird ending to this game. No team really wanted to win. They just kept giving it back to each other. But for the Packers, they're rolling, dude. Exactly what I expect from Green Bay. 7.4 yards a carry for Aaron Jones, over 100 yards on the ground. Devontae Adams, 11 catches, 206 yards. It's exactly what I expect from Green Bay. But on the other end, Joe Burrow and the Bengals have just been impressive this year. I know it's like a growing year for them, but I didn't think they'd be pushing Green Bay to overtime, even in Cincinnati. Joe Mixon was hurt, so he played, but he wasn't fully productive. But Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, man, the Bengals got two real ones. They another week where they were very efficient offensively. And Joe Burrow is a tough dude. It's like cool because he comes back out there and he makes plays, but it makes him really nervous for the long term for Cincinnati, because there was a play in there where he got lit up bad. And then he came right back, and it looked like he was going to maybe leave the game. We came back the next drive and let him down, and he was good the rest of the way and balled out after that. But Joe Burrow's recklessness, he's been very impressive, but does make me nervous for the long term.
Yeah, he definitely, that was ridiculous. He obviously went to the hospital after the game, throat contusion, I think it was. He's cleared. He's good to go going forward. But yeah, I mean, he's your franchise quarterback. You see him coming off a major knee injury last year. You probably hold your breath as a head coach and even ownership and even as a fan watching him take a hit like that for really no reason. There's no reason to take hits like that. That's one thing I credit Josh Allen this year. He's kind of smarter, getting out of bounds. And sliding and not taking hits. Joe Burrow needs to do the same. I mean, we've seen him willing to act crazy at LSU, dive forward and do stuff like that, but there's no reason. I mean, you have to be there for the next 10 years to be the franchise quarterback of this team. And for you to risk yourself, risk your body like that, there's just no reason to do stuff like that. I mean, if it's a Super Bowl, right? If it's do or die, if it's a Super Bowl, I can kind of see, I can reason with you, right? You're going to take risks like that in a Super Bowl, but this is week 5 against the Green Bay Packers. Get out of bounds, slide, throw the ball away, do something to not take another big hit after you're coming off a major injury. But you're right on. Jamar Chase, a baller, have him on a fantasy team as well. I love it. They're continuing the chemistry from their LSU days. They just seem, he's the real deal. It was funny, that one catch, that big one, where Darnell Savage laid out, and I was like, yep, this is a pick. And then nope, it swoops by him straight into Chase's hands, a touchdown. And he's like, all the reports where he couldn't catch the ball in preseason and training camp, and we clearly see now he can catch the football. So it's good to see that. I mean, I would still look up if you're the Bengals. You're kind of like, if your field goal kicker irons a shit out and makes one field goal, you win a game just like that. I think he missed a 49-yarder. He could have won the game with a 49-yarder and missed that as well. And it was funny as hell that he celebrated with the long snapper.
Yeah,
I thought that was the funniest thing. My man celebrates with the long snapper after a miss. That's a meme for eternity. That's hilarious. But yeah, I mean, Bengals, I would still say the stock is up for me. I mean, they look like they have everything going on offense. Joe Burrow is only going to get healthier as the weeks go on. The knee's only going to get better. He just needs to be a little bit smarter. And that a couple interceptions too. The one where he threw it right to, I think it was Devondre Campbell, it might have been, or he threw it right to the Packers guy. I was like, geez, I don't know what that was. I think he was expecting Tyler Boyd to come across, but obviously Tyler Boyd did not move at all. And it's just like, that's one of those where I think even he would say, damn, I wish I didn't release the football, because it just looked bad. But I like where the Bengals are, to be honest, even though they lost.
Yeah, I agree. Joe Burrow has certain moments where he kind of just turns his brain off. We saw that with Chicago when he threw multiple picks in a row. Same thing with Green Bay with that interception he just threw. But nothing but good things for him overall. He's getting much better.
Yep, pretty much. That's really everything I had on the docket question-wise. We'll just run through real quick. I mean, obviously Panthers, Eagles, Panthers, we were really questioning how legit of a team they were. They lost in Dallas. Sam Darnold looked like garbage in the third quarter, throwing interceptions, and then he kind of repeats it against the Eagles on Sunday. 3 more interceptions. Darius Slay gets 2 of them, and I believe Steven Nelson got 1. I could be completely wrong, but I know Darius Slay picked 2. And I mean, it's just interceptions. It's kind of, we watched Sam Darnold over the past 2 weeks return to his New York Jets days. To be honest, they were literally some bad throws, some risky throws that you don't make. Are we kind of seeing that the Panthers maybe aren't the team that we thought they were after these last 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's hard to have a lot of confidence in the Panthers when they blow a lead to the Eagles and at home. Sam Darnold, yeah, he looked pretty good to start the season, and then the last 2 weeks he looks like New York Jets, seeing ghost Sam Darnold. So a lot of questions in Carolina. The thing for Carolina is their roster is pretty good, and they can move off Sam pretty easily. So Carolina as an organization is not exactly in a bad spot, so that's good for them.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, when I watched that game, I was like, if I'm the Panthers, I'm offering whatever you can for Deshaun Watson. They really feel like if they get Deshaun Watson in there, uh, they are legit. I've heard Miami be rumored, but I'm like, if the Panthers can go out and make that move, it would kind of be that would be ideal for them. Yeah, we'll give you, I guess, a Jameis update. The Saints get it going. They beat up on the Washington football team again. Hail Marys happening before half. Yeah, I mean, just give us an update on the Winston wagon. He looked good. I'll give him that.
Yeah, he looked much better. The real update to me is he got to throw the ball 30 times. He threw an interception early. He bounced back, threw 4 touchdowns after that. But really, to me, the only number that stands out is the attempts 15 to 30. You could complete more. You need to be more accurate. But I'm just glad to see him throw 30 balls because, as I've said the last couple times I've been on this show, I like Jameis and the Saints, but Sean Payton's not going to let him throw the ball. Who really cares? So they let him open it up a little bit more. Washington's defense is definitely trash. We thought they were going to be good. We all did. They've regressed like crazy. So it's hard to, get an accurate gauge because it's against Washington, but it's improvement from last week. So I'll take it.
Yeah, pretty much. I guess we can go. Dallas does their thing again. Trayvon Diggs, another interception. Daniel Jones goes out with a concussion. Didn't look good. Then his teammate helmet bumps him after he after he has the concussion. I'm like, probably not wise. That was pretty it's funny as hell to watch. And yeah, I mean, anything there, anything really across the board. That's kind of all I really got. I'm kind of fishing. I'm throwing the fishing rod out there with not much bait left. Any other topics on the docket that you wanted to dive into real fast as we kind of wrap this thing up?
Last thing I'll say was about the Thursday night game and the Seattle Seahawks. They can hang on because they got some easy winnable games coming up. And without Russell Wilson, they have a chance to salvage their season, but I don't think they will. My takeaway with Seattle is they look like a bad football team that's held together by like a few really good players, including freaking Russell Wilson, who's a Hall of Famer. So, yeah, they just seem like Pete Carroll's old. The roster feels old and slow. They have a few good pieces on each side of the ball, but overall, Seattle does not look like a good football team.
Yeah, Seattle, they kind of, they're trending down as well going into Sunday night against the Steelers. Yeah, anytime Russell Wilson's out and you got to run with Geno Smith, kind of troubling going forward. I mean, I guess real quick, Arizona finds a way to get it done. Close game, division game, 17-10 W. Those are ones that, I mean, it might not look that great, but 17-10 W in a divisional game, a win's a win, as I always say.
Any comments on Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers actually scoring points? Or are you with me? You think it was just like a flash in the pan fluke week?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not buying much stock in the Ben Roethlisberger, but I was kind of on the Steelers all week, right? Teddy Bridgewater was in the concussion protocol the whole week. I think he didn't get cleared until Saturday. They're going across the country to play the Steelers. I just thought it was crazy that anybody would ride with the Broncos in that case when Teddy hasn't really practiced all week with the ones. This is kind of a result that I kind of expected. I mean, I didn't expect the Steelers offense to really hit some deep shots like that and kind of look halfway decent, but I did expect the Steelers to win with those circumstances going on. But yeah, I'm not buying any Steelers stock, dude. I mean, they could very well somehow lose to Geno Smith come Sunday night. That's just what type of team they are.
Yeah, I agree. I was on the Broncos just because I didn't even think Big Ben in Pittsburgh could put up 27 points. So good for them. They got a home W, righted their season a little bit. We'll see what happens next.
Yeah, we'll see what happens next. Yeah, that's really a wrap for that. We'll just quickly jump over to our spread pick results for week 5. And with our updated records, we hop over as we see now. Alex is sitting 34-40-1 after a 6-8-1 week. I hate seeing that one because the Packers, obviously, it was a void. It was a push. Jesus, kickers get it together. Mason Crosby makes an extra point. We're looking at a different scenario. I have a big week, third week in a row where somebody finds a way to go 11-4, 11-3-1. Somebody puts up another 11. So that puts me at 37-37-1. And then John kind of gets back. He climbs a game into second place, 35-39-1. So it's kind of an evolving situation where we see the top guy go back to down to the last. And then it seems like this is kind of going to be the consistent thing in this kind of spread pick thing. We're finding out, we're kind of understanding where teams are at, but it just seems like all year we're going to be jostling back and forth. I don't know if anybody's really going to take over any picks you're kind of pissed at, you're kind of mad at.
Ravens 6.5. If the Ravens played better football to start the game and made less mistakes, they should have covered. And then the Dolphins got their ass kicked. I thought they could do a little bit better.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I was high on the Bucks. Any Jacoby Brissett led team. I don't see. I mean, Tom Brady was going to be pissed after getting bottled up on Sunday Night Football. I was kind of big on that. I was kind of mad about Patriots, to be honest. Like, I didn't realize how beat up. Obviously, they had two linemen out. I think it was two linemen with COVID, and other guys hurt. So they really played with one of their starting linemen on the front. So I kind of sit back and I was like, damn, I really trusted that team. And then somehow the Texans come out and Davis Mills are doing flea flickers and they're suddenly looking like a football team after losing 40-0 against the Bills. Super funny. And then I was also kind of pissed about the other one, the Vikings minus 8.5. I sat back and I was like, I really expected Kirk Cousins to win a division game by 9 points. Like, I know it's the Lions, but I mean, one thing we've seen about the Lions and Dan Campbell, he has his guys show up. And the Vikings aren't really a team that with a line of 8.5 that you can trust them to win by 9 or 10 points. I kind of realized that going forward. But I mean, I was super happy with the Bills, Cardinals pulling it out. Obviously, the Bears as well. I think I was the only. Now, John also went Bears +5, but as that story unraveled, I don't know. I just had a good feeling about the Bears. They went with Fields as a starter and kind of controlled that. And then obviously the allegations derailed them. Really, anything else before we kind of wrap this thing up?
Now, looking forward to this next week. We get our Eagles on Thursday Night Football against the Bucks. Excited to watch. I don't feel confident about it, but we'll talk about that next episode.
Yeah, exactly. That stuff will be on the week 6 preview. Yeah, we will be covering that Thursday Night Football game. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, good week 5. We kind of, they find a way to come back. They're down 18-3, find a way to come back and win a game. And that's a big one. So, I mean, that's really going to do it for the recap today. Thank you all for listening. Please like, subscribe, and comment. If you have any suggestions, drop them in the comments below, as we always read them and try to respond to those and really kind of make this the best viewing experience for you guys. As always, the Spotify link, if you're an audio only person, will be in the description. And yeah, as always, we'll see you tomorrow or Thursday with the week 6 preview as we jump forward into that. Y'all have a good one.